took a while to figure it out. The bendy bend, and it had to reset a couple times, so we got it. With the hidden bookshelf, clearly does something. Something happens here. I got these little dooper dooper derps that like...
Derper derper derps, yeah.
Derper derper derps.
That's the actual term for it. That's the Lego term for it. Welcome to another episode of Building Friendships. It's still October, so it's kind of Halloween, haunted, scary nonsense month. I'm your host, John Sosis. Today, my guest, one of my favorite people. She's an actress. She's a producer. She's a writer. Can we say future podcast host?
Yeah, I think so. I hope at that point it will be happening.
Yeah, I think there's a podcast in her future. The one and only Catherine Corcoran.
I don't know which one to look at. Is that it?
Yeah, this is yours. So we're doing some sets. I'm continuing my Hocus Pocus house.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so we're doing some Hocus Pocus. I think this might be the third episode where I'm getting this one done. And then I know you're a Harry Potter girl. That was the scariest set that I could find because it has a skull in it, I think.
My only real Lego experience was like Harry Potter as a child. Like I had these. My dad got them for me and I built them and they lived in on display in my room for until it was embarrassing and we got rid of them.
It's never embarrassing.
John, this is your world.
This is going home with you and it's going on your shelf.
On my shelf. But I have not Legoed in probably 20 years.
Well, let's get it going. So
okay.
We're both East Coasters, and we first met when I came to, it was at the Comedy Store, and you had come, Damien Leone was in town, and he had been talking to Annie Letterman, and you had been talking to Annie Letterman, and she was doing a spot here, and you guys came by to hang out. And I had been talking to Damien separately. He's a Staten Island guy. I'm a Brooklyn guy. So we kind of started chatting and he was coming by the store. So I get out of my car and I come over to the front bar where you guys are. And I guess this is the Staten Island Italian, Brooklyn Italian in him.
Okay.
Where you can't come empty-handed. And he hands me a signed DVD. And then...
Of his own movie?
He handed it to you, and then you signed it.
Oh, yes, I remember he asked me to sign it, but the fact that I didn't realize he was carrying it. I thought you gave it to him and asked him to sign it.
Oh my God.
The fact that this man, Damien carries his own merch just in case anybody wants it.
Wait. This whole time
funny.
you thought that I showed up with a DVD for you to sign?
No, I thought maybe you guys had done something here at the store and he just gave it to you. And then you were like, oh, you're here. Will you sign it while you're here? I didn't think it was you brought your own full nerd, but also I wouldn't be totally.
Okay, that hurts, Catherine. No,
I don't know.
That's so funny. This whole time you're like, oh, this nerd who asked me to sign his DVD.
No, I didn't think about it, honestly. In the moment, I just kind of ignored it and was whatever. But I think the fact that Damien, I'm going to give him so much shit for that. The fact that he carries around his own fucking merch.
I think this was one of the first times he was in LA. I don't think he carries it around. I thought he was doing something, he was trying to do something nice. And like I said, the East Coast boys were raised right. You don't come empty-handed.
You don't come empty-handed, so you bring your own.
You bring your own movie.
It's so embarrassing.
I felt bad taking it. I'm like, this is a steelbook. I really
It was a steelbook.
It was a steelbook DVD, and it's sitting on my desk right now. It's one of my favorite things, but it's now I'm friends with you, and I'm like,
at least he knew his audience. I have to look at her all the time.
No, for me it was more of if she ever comes over, she's going to see a signed DVD of hers sitting on my desk.
John, I already thought you were a total loser, so it's okay.
And here we are. Here we are.
Wait, I keep missing things, and then I can't put them... and I can't get them apart again. We're just moving on without it. Sorry.
Okay, well, that's going to come back to bite you in a little bit. That's not how that works. So we moved out here about the same time. How long have you been in LA now?
About a year and a half.
Okay. Oh, so I moved out before you. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you adjusted or are you...
Doesn't want the peace.
Are you still adjusting to like LA life? Because you live down by the water. You're in like
Yeah.
prime like LA territory.
Well, you know, like when I lived in New York for like 10 years. Do they hold these? No, they just don't tell me. They're just like put it aside. I lived in New York for like 10 years and I loved it. And I used to say that I was like such a New Yorker, like I would have left like kicking and screaming. So the pandemic happened and it was just like full apocalypse. Like I think on the block next to me there was like one of those like trailers with bodies in it.
Oh no.
And I was just like I can't do this. So I went, my family is from Philly, so I went back there and I was kind of like posted up there for a while and my family was like has a house. That's a very Philly thing to have like a shore house in South Jersey. And they had just everyone laughs and they had just
you know what it is? Sorry.
No, go
when
for
I
it.
think when I hear Philly, I don't think, oh, she's from Philly. She probably has a house at the Jersey Shore. I think, oh, she's in Philly. She probably riots if the Eagles lose.
That too, but also we also all go to like vacation it's not even that you have a house there, like you just vacation there. And they think it's like luxury. But it's like, well, there are really nice parts, but like it's the Jersey Shore. I had like a really excellent video of people like fist pumping in a bus on the way to Atlantic City when I visited recently. It was excellent internet content. I'm telling you, you didn't give me all the things. And I
They're
know
all
this.
there.
Are these
There's
new?
another small bag to your right over there. Maybe it's in there.
No. Did you?
Okay.
Did you? I mean, no.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
Did you make this before? Break it apart?
No, I just opened that box
This is
right
brand
there.
new.
Yeah, it's brand new. The stickers are right there. They have not been used.
Oh, that's what the stickers. So yeah, like I was spending a lot of time on the water, and then I did some work out east in Montauk and was back and forth there for a while. And I just found that I really liked, I didn't have to be back in the city anymore. All our auditions and shit were remote and the city wasn't really bouncing back in the same way. And like, I just kind of like, I don't know what I want to do. And everything, like I would get cast and things and they'd fly me to wherever I was filming.
Yeah.
Whether it be like Atlanta or wherever else. And so I just kind of was like, I don't know. I like being by the water. I'm going to just try this LA thing. So I came out on a whim, looked at the first place I looked at is the place I live in.
Always a good idea.
Yeah. And like, it was just like, that was it. And I didn't tell anyone and I just did it.
Really?
Yeah. No, I'm not like dramatic like that. You know, I don't make like a big like exit strategy. I was just like, and I'm out. And that was it. And I've been here about a year and a half and it's been, you know, an interesting ride. It's very different than New York for sure.
What do you find to be like? Do you find that like for me, LA, you don't have to seek out the industry. Where I feel like in New York, you had to actively try to network. You have to actively seek out the industry. I feel like everybody here, it just feels super organic to be industry.
I feel like, yeah, the thing is it's such a like, in New York, you have so many different like creative, like things going on. Everybody's artistic and doing all these different things. Here, it's like, if you like the business is a thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you work in this and this is like kind of how it goes. And it's just different. And it's such an infrastructure out here. Whereas like in New York, yes, there's like entertainment and all of that. And like, obviously there's a big, is this right? Well, if it's not, too late. So there's like a whole, there's just like this whole infrastructure in place that's just not like that. I don't think this is right. This is.
I think you're crushing it.
You know, I'm crushing it.
Yeah.
Maybe is it black? Is that black or red? Black. Okay, so this was like advice I got when I was really young, and I was acting as a kid, and I was serious about it. So I was looking only at like New York. I was already repped, so I was only looking at New York, Chicago, or LA for like colleges. My parents were like, you have to go to college. So I was like, okay, and I looked at Chicago was out pretty freaking quick because I don't like the cold. And New York was closer to home, and I found a program there, and LA, I also found a program, and I don't think this is right, but whatever, we're just guessing. This producer friend of mine, or who was like kind of mentoring me at the time, said to me, listen, New Yorkers, LA actors work out in the gym. New York actors work out on the stage. There's no right or wrong, but you need to decide right now what's more important to you. And that really
in
stuck
terms of what?
Like in terms of like being an actor, right? He was like, there's no right or wrong, like in how you do this. You gave me such a hard thing. You should give me like beginner level.
I'm sorry, that's pretty
I feel like
beginner.
This is beginner.
Look at the box. I think it's pretty beginner.
Oh, it says ages like 7 to 10 or something like that on here. What does this say? Does it have like a thing? 9+. I should have gotten 5+. Okay.
Listen, I think you're better than that.
Thank you. So he was just saying what he meant by that. I think was that like New York is more, LA is more image based. New York is more art based.
Got it.
You know, and
that's true. Except I think the industry in a whole is very social media based now. Yes,
and I mean this was like I'm dating myself, but this was like, 10+ years ago, and he but it did stay with me, and I think there was something to that. Like for me, he was just saying like it's either you're like craft focused or you're image focused, and I've noticed the slight difference here where like there's just things that like in LA that would like never happen in New York. Like everything has a freaking carpet. Everything. Like it doesn't matter if you're going to the fast food place up the street is opening a new location, and there's a red carpet event, and everyone gets an email invite, and they will, and people like show up specifically to take photos on this thing. It's funny
because I was pitching that to you like when you had a re-release of a movie, and I was like, we should just do like an event and have a carpet.
I know, and it's like a thing out here. That doesn't really happen here. Like we have events and but it's like not really a thing. And then in fact, and like everyone points out here, like you'll go to somebody and be like, do you know who that is? That's so and so. Like they point them out. Yeah. And they like actively go over to try to get them. In New York, we don't fucking do that. No. We go like our whole thing is it's like ignore them. In fact, if you act like you're inconvenienced by them being there, that's the really like New Yorker thing to do. Like not only just ignore them, but be annoyed that this celebrity exists and that they're here, like, you know, just taking up time in your day-to-day life.
I think I told this on an episode, but when I was at my last job at the record label in Times Square, we're walking for lunch, me and my friend, and I like to do like just stupid things. If I see someone famous, I'll be like, oh, that's so-and-so, and like just keep walking. Yeah. So I did that. We saw Mario Lopez walking with his agent or somebody. I'm like, oh my God, it's Mario Lopez. I just said it to my friend, but loud enough so they could hear. And he goes, yeah, you want a photo? I was like, no, I'm good. No. And like I realized how bad he must have felt, but that's the New York thing of like, no, I'm okay.
No, I'm solid. Yeah. I mean, I think like, damn, I missed a piece, and now see just okay, got it. Crisis averted. Yeah, it's just like a very, we don't like acknowledge that. I did a commercial like early in my career with like a pretty famous rock star for his like guitar line, and I remember he asked if anybody wanted any selfies. But he was filming in New York, like when he came. He's like, oh, thank you for being here. So he didn't want any selfies, and like nobody did. And I kind of felt bad for him.
I think that's rough.
Like, so we all ended up taking selfies with him anyway. But like, it's just like such a like bug. Like we don't do that. The other thing that New Yorkers don't do is this whole driving bullshit.
I love it.
Not only do we not drive, but like we have rules and like sensibility that they do not have out here. This gets me like every time. Like, okay. I am not a good driver. I openly admit this. you take your life in your hands when you get in the car with me at any given time. Like, and I forewarn everybody, you may or may not die from this experience. And, you know, you do it of your own volition. But there are things I know to be true. One of which is when you put your turn signal on, that means you are going in the direction of the turn signal.
Wait, where do you live that they use a turn signal? Because I haven't seen a goddamn turn signal since I've moved here.
That's what I'm saying. Not only that, but then you put the turn signal on and people don't like, you know, it's like, hey, I'm coming in. People will speed up.
Yeah.
To like keep you from doing that. Bullshit. Like, these are just like general rules.
I haven't seen a turn signal. I haven't seen somebody park in in one fucking parking spot. They park in 3 spots.
Ever.
Because every spot is for a compact car. I'm like, there's no compact cars in LA. At best, you're gonna see a Tesla.
At best. And then there's like, I never knew what that was, a compact car. I don't even know what that is.
It's a car that you could flip with your 2 hands because it's so tiny.
You can flip with your 2 hands. That's the evaluatory mechanism.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then also, which is bullshit, you'll be like driving and you know when there's a lot of lanes in Los Angeles, right? And the rules are, and I don't know who didn't tell these people this, but the rule is the left lane is the passing lane. It's the fast people lane. You got somewhere to go, get on the left. And then as you get closer to the exit, you slowly move like a little bit to the right. This is common sense.
Yeah.
Nobody knows this here.
You would think they did because they have the carpool lane, which I will say there are great things about driving in LA. Right turn on red, can't do that in New York City.
That's true.
The carpool lane in New York is 3 or more people. I don't have 2 fucking friends.
I have 2 fucking friends. I am your only friend.
I was never in the carpool lane in New York. So like there are things that I love about LA, but the drivers themselves are some of the worst I've ever seen in my life.
No, it's horrific. It's just like, wait the fucking... Sorry.
Wait the fuck that New York came out. How old were you when you realized you wanted to be an actress? Because you started, like, you told me you started at like 19, you started doing some of the trauma stuff.
Yeah, but I was doing it like way before that. I just kind of, I know it sounds like really weird. I was just really pretentious and I always knew. Like,
I don't think that's pretentious. I think it's rare.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I just like, when I was, this is very complicated. When I was, like a kid, you do need this bag. When I was a kid, I don't know, I was just like pretentious and I was like always putting on, precocious I guess is the word, not pretentious or both. I was always putting on like shows and stuff in our like backyard and shit like that. And my mom was a dancer when she was younger and you know, so she had me do like dance classes and things like that. And what ended up happening was this is similar to New York, like they would have tours that would come through. And like, hold on, so I'm like trying to focus. I'm so bad at this. Okay, they'd have tours that would come through and for like productions, and the equity policy at the time was you couldn't tour with kids. So they would have to recast the kids and like double cast them in every city that these like Broadway and off-Broadway tours and stuff would go to. And so I was like, they would put stuff up in like all the local, you know, whatevers that they were looking for kids. And I would start and I asked if I could audition for it. And after a while, I started booking. And then and then like I did that for a while. I did a couple different productions, you know, when they needed like kids to do like Annie or whatever else. Yeah. And then eventually I stopped being so like cute, and my mom, and I said to my mom, like, I really want to do this. I'm very serious about this. And she was like, all right, kid, go like find somewhere to do it. I don't care. And so I Googled, and this is a true story, I Googled acting agents. And I did. I made a list and I cold called them. I was like 11, and I cold called all of them and was like asking for a meeting for representation. And most of this is so wrong, and you're just gonna have to deal with it when I'm done with it. Sorry.
You're gonna have to deal with it.
You're gonna have to deal with it. They all thought, most of them hung up on me. I probably was like 11 years old, cold calling CAA or whatever. And but one woman, her name was Edie Robb. She talked like this, like Ross's agent from Friends, like she had smoked a pack a day, or Joey's agent, yeah. Like she had smoked a pack a day her entire life. She like smoked, and she talked like this. Her name was Edie Robb.
Estelle.
Yeah, her name was Edie Robb, and she listened to my little spiel, and she goes, "What is this, a 215 number?" I was like, "Yes, I'm from Philadelphia." And she goes, "All right, how old are you? You sound young." And I was like, I'm 11. And she goes, "All right, listen. My husband, he runs an acting school in Philadelphia. I really messed this up. On Fridays, they do open calls. Go, bring your mother, I'll meet you." So I'm like, "Mom!" So I go. I had to like do a monologue. I did the whole thing. And she repped me. And I fucked it up. No, I didn't. And she decided to rep me for some strange, bizarre reason that we still don't really understand. And she became my first rep, and I would take classes with her husband on the weekends. And if you were repped by his wife, he did these like, this is pissing me off now. Hang on. Okay, so they would do these like pre-professional classes. So you would learn not just like how to act in the mornings, but in the afternoons you would learn like how to audition, how to read a teleprompter, how to do commercial copy, how to do ADR, like voiceover, all of that.
And that's great because you were not an industry kid. Like
No. So it was really helpful. And so it was kind of smart because this is so fucked up. This is so wrong. It was kind of smart because it like in some way made it so that she had a bunch of like employable kids.
Yeah.
But also like, things that you actually need to learn how to do that like they don't teach you when you go to like college to like.
That's what I always felt about college. Like compared to an internship, the only valuable thing about college is an internship.
Yeah, and I mean, oh my God, this is so complicated. You mean to tell me that nine-year-old kids do this?
Uh-huh.
Like, so stupid. It just kind of like, it's kind of like a weird thing because I do think like I think college is great and valuable, but I think now there's just like, unless you know what you want to do, it
becomes a waste of money. And, and there's rarely a way to pay off your debt at this point.
Yeah, and I feel like in entertainment, like you learn more by doing,
Yep.
And I say that as someone who speaks at universities like pretty regularly and is going to do that after this, but like there's nothing that like can substitute real world experience.
No, and I think that's something that people are missing by not getting out of the house, by being obsessed with social media, by not getting out and seeing how the real world really works.
Yeah.
Because at some point, as much as social media is taking over, it's also all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Are you at that point where you're comparing yourself to other people?
I used to when I was first starting out all the time. I think it's like inevitable.
Everybody, that's the thing. Everybody's comparing themselves to the next person who does something remotely similar to what they do.
And now I've just gotten to a point where I think, all a rising tide lifts all ships, and there's room for everybody. And like comparing myself to somebody else it doesn't do anything to help me or them for that matter, because it's just like, I'm never going to be able, everybody brings something different, right? You know this like in comedy and in acting, but like everybody approaches a story differently. That's what makes it amazing. Like what we do, right? Is like, nobody can tell a story the same way that another person can.
Yeah.
And like, that's why like certain jokes are funny when some people tell it and not funny when other people tell them, you know, or like, and I think that's like what I've come to realize is just that like, you know, all I'm doing in comparing myself to other people is like kicking a stone upstream or whatever. It's never going to do anything.
It's completely out of your control.
Yeah. And
you can't undo what people are getting.
And I can't make myself like, why does this not work? I can't make myself more like that other person, no matter how badly I might want to, you know, because I'm never going to be them.
Well, that's the weird thing about it. You're at least smart enough to not try, where you see people getting surgeries, you see people doing things to try and be other people.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's not what they're looking for. They're not looking for a copy of this person. There's got to be you have to have something unique that's making you desirable.
Dude, though, when I first got out here, I got like wrapped up in that for a hot second.
Did you?
For sure. Not like wrapped up in it, but I was just like hanging around with like the wrong people. And to be fair, it's usually people who are a little bit less experienced.
Yeah.
You know? But I was just
that makes sense.
Like hanging out with the wrong people, and like I was new, so I was just like, oh yeah, I guess I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, and just let other people kind of tell me like how things were. Even though I had like plenty of experience, you know, I kind of just listen to the people, and I started thinking to myself, like, do I need to get this? Do I need to get this procedure? Do I need to be doing this? Do I need to be like, and they were like, this is just how it is out here.
It's very easy to get caught up in that.
Yeah.
I will say that.
And I kind of like had to like really like remove myself and like kind of go dark for a little bit and just like I actually, believe it or not, I deleted my social media account. Or I didn't delete it, I just like deleted it off my phone for like a good 3 months.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have gone back on if I wasn't asked to for work.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but also the reality of everything.
I just felt like happier. I felt like more clear in what I was doing. I was more creative.
So let's talk work. The word icon is used when there's something, I mean, this is going to sound stupid, iconic that is done that can be replicated, but it's never been seen or done before, so it will always stand out.
Okay.
And I think that's what happened to you with your scene from Terrifier, which we'll whatever. Do you now look at that and realize that you've done something that like stands out specifically?
No.
You don't look at it as anything special? Do you not like?
No, I mean, people say that, and I'm so humbled and like honored by that phrasing, right? Like icon, like wow, you know, that's such a crazy thing to call someone, and like, and it, you know, I'm always so like, you know, humbled and like honored when people use that term, but like, that was such a crazy thing to do. Like, I don't even know, upon retrospect, like, well, I never thought it. Damien said to me that night, and he really did. He said, "Are you ready to make horror movie history?" And I looked at him and I said, "Shut up, Damien. Nobody is going to watch this stupid movie." Like, I mean, I probably didn't call it stupid. I thought like movie, you know what I mean? But like, I never thought it was going to be a big thing. And we talk about that a lot. Like, it was a totally different experience for the second film because like it was already such a huge thing. Like they kickstarted for it, or like Indiegogo or something, and the film was so popular at that point, the first film, that they made their goal in like 2 days. And then in 4 days had raised like 5 times that. And then shut down the campaign because they didn't like, it was just like ridiculous at that point. They didn't have enough things to give out. People had like picked all the incentives. And it was like super, apparently like all these people, like all the other actors on it, like on the second film, it was like this competitive thing. They were all like trying, like, you know, the audition process was really competitive. Ours wasn't like that. Damien had to work around us. He had to work around our schedule because we were on bigger jobs, and like he just wanted to work with us. And I think like, I just never, to this day, I've never understood fully, I guess, the magnitude of like what that project is.
Yeah, I guess the perspective is different when you got to see the behind the scenes of it, and someone like myself, or like when Katie and I went to Monsterpalooza, you had a never ending line. Like your line didn't stop for autographs at the conventions, which you do a lot of. You're doing it one this weekend.
Yeah.
So I guess the perspective is different. I was curious how you saw it, which I guess it is very different because
look, you never, I think it's like, someone said this to me, and it's like, you never arrive, right? Like, you win your Oscar, and then you're thinking about, like, the next Oscar, right?
Yeah.
Like, you never...
Well, except for Will Smith. He's not.
Yeah.
He's banned for 10 years. He doesn't
and
really
he's not worried about that.
He doesn't have to think about it.
But, like, yeah, I think it's, like, you just never... Nobody ever we're all, you know, we're always just trying to, like, get by and do the next thing.
Yeah.
And I think what people don't realize about this business is that, like, it's such a grind. It's, like... that's partially like, I mean, we're filming this now, who knows what will happen when this airs, but like, you know, we're on strike right now, and like that's like part of it, right? It's like nobody is like, you do these conventions because like the real secret is that it's the only way anybody really makes any money.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
you're also in that really good spot where you can appreciate that kind of stuff, where like if you look, and I'm not saying this because you're my friend, but in a few years from now, you're not going to be able to just sit at a table and have people come up to you.
no.
Like Jamie Lee Curtis cannot just sit at a
oh,
table.
I thought you meant just because I'd be old.
Well, no, because you're going to be an even bigger name that, like Taylor Swift does not have the luxury of meeting all the fans that want to come meet her. She can't do a music convention and have her fans line up to meet her. It would be pure chaos.
I mean, that would be really nice if I could get to that point, because I do think there's a little bit, Taylor Swift probably has a lot more financial stability than any of us have. But, and I appreciate that sentiment. But yes, you're right. Like it is cool to get to talk to people. Every time someone cries, I just can't believe, I'm always like this, like, that this means that much to them, or that anything I've done. Sometimes they don't cry about, like, you know, that film. There's other films, but like, that's like such a cool, like, you know, that's why you tell stories. That's why we're sitting here right now, right? Because you want to like connect with people, and you want on some weird level to like, this is so hippy dippy, but like Aristotle talks about in the Poetics that like and I say this all the time, but like the purpose of storytelling is that it's the closest we can be to understanding another human's suffering without suffering ourselves. Because at the end of the film, at the end of the story, show, whatever it is that you just did, they may have cried, they may have laughed, they may have felt pain, fear, whatever it is, but then the lights come up and they're purged from that experience, but renewed with an understanding they didn't have moments before. And he said, and that's how you can create real change.
That's deep.
Yeah, man.
What is the weirdest interaction you've ever had? And part of that question, have you seen a tattoo of your face on somebody's body?
The weirdest I've seen tattoos. I typically get my whole body and not just my face. If you have just my face, I automatically level you up. Because some people don't even have my face. They do the opposite. It's just my body without the head. Like this part that's speaking to you is not important.
Oh, God.
And the weirdest. There's a lot of weird. It takes a lot to rile me because I'm really weird. I think the weirdest is when people are like cross the line. Like I've gotten followed and stuff like that. Like,
well, I think that's the separation
like
between weird and creepy.
Yeah, I'm trying to like really just weird.
Because I always find tattoos to be not creepy but weird.
Listen.
Someone who tattoos a face on them, that to me is more weird than creepy.
If you have a tattoo of me on you, it automatically rules you out as someone that I would date. And I feel really bad saying that, but it's true.
I mean, it's fair.
Like, it rules you out. But that being said, if you had just my face, who knows? Because normally...
And that's an unfortunate thing. That's an unfortunate thing for them, because now They have they have a tattoo of you. You won't date them, and now they have to date someone else with your face on their body.
That's true.
All right, last question. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
This is like so much deeper than I thought this show was gonna be.
Listen, it's Lego.
It's Lego. It's like heavy. Okay. I think it would be like my self-doubt.
Okay.
Like I wish I was just like if I could change, like remove that like fear, that we all have.
Do you think you've missed opportunities because of it?
Oh, for sure. I self-sabotage like crazy.
Do you really?
It's so hard for me like put myself out there, or like I'm a chronically late person, like all of that stuff. Like totally self-sabotage.
I do that in relationships, but not so much with work.
In
with
relationships.
work, yeah. With relationships, I'll find reasons that are not reasons to end up like ruining something really good.
Oh, I do the same thing. I'll like in relationships. And I think it's like this and I also like for men in particular, like you can like fail upwards a little bit, I think. So like I
love being a man.
Love it. So like I always like I'm so much like men will just put themselves out there. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, right? With work. But like I'm like always afraid to do that because like you just don't I don't know. I feel like as a woman, like you just don't know, like how it's going to go over. And so I'm constantly like, I wish that fear would go away and I would just put out all the I will make creative projects and not put them out. Like full decks, full scripts, full pitches.
That is wild.
And just hang on to them.
Well, we've spoken about that. You're very similar to me in that you are constantly creating. So it's like crazy to think that you do so much work on the creative side and some of it is probably amazing and will never see the light of day.
Maybe it really is terrible and I'm just very self-aware. You know what I mean?
Well, that's self-doubt at its finest.
Right? But if I could get rid of that trait, I think I would, it would help, in a lot of ways.
Well, I think let's wrap it up. Let's see how far you got.
Look at this shit. There's a full thing that makes a magic thing that does a bendy bend. And I got his
you made the bendy bend. I didn't realize you made the bendy bend.
Yeah. And
That's
it took
pretty
a while
impressive.
to figure it out. The bendy bend, and it had to reset a couple times, so we got it. With the hidden bookshelf, clearly does something. Something happens here. I got these little dooper dooper derps that like...
Derper derper derps, yeah.
Dooper dooper derps.
That's the actual term for it. That's the Lego term for it. I'd say you did pretty good for one episode. You got pretty far.
That's the Harry Potter stuff.
Yeah, you and Adam right. It's the actors who like actually making them interact. Yeah, he was doing the exact same thing with Jurassic Park.
What is it? Wingardium Leviosa!
I don't know what that is. I don't
You
know
never
what
watched Harry Potter?
I've never seen Harry Potter. Any of them.
You never seen any of them?
No.
Never, like, there was like
Now
audio...
I feel like I'm too old to watch that movie with kids. It's like little kids. I don't know.
Just,
little kids who do magic.
You are a grown man.
I am
hosting
a
a
grown
podcast
man.
about Legos.
Okay, you have a point. You have a point.
But I think like I would like when I was a kid, they had before the movies came out, they had these like audiobooks and my dad would put on when we were like driving long distances and he'd be like it's like Englishman being like, Harry Potter, we have to fight the snaky snake. Oh, this one has two faces. Look at this. It has two faces.
Yeah. It changes in his expression.
Oh, let's make her an
Lego's
angry
super
bitch.
advanced. Now you get two emotions.
I can't turn her head and I want to make her like an angry bitch.
As Lego intended.
Like myself,
Where can people find you? You have a lot. You have a lot of stuff that people could go and support.
Instagram is probably the one I'm most active on. It's Insta Catherine with a C. That's probably it. Like on my name on Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. I have a website. I don't really update it that much, but you can check it out. IMDb me, bitch. Yeah. That's how
that was the perfect ending. We're clipping that. We have to clip that. That's gonna make it into that's making it into the trailer. IMDb me, bitch.
IMDb me, bitch.
Well, thank you for doing this, Catherine. Love you to death.
Love you.
You can follow me at Say It Ain't Sosis. You can follow Building Friendship series, and we'll be back with another episode at some point.